item 6, which is the quarterly risk report. So before we start the quarterly risk report, I will provide the questions. So we have 3 questions from the public, which has been circulated. Following my responses, we'll do 1 question at a time. Feel free to approach here to the table here. Per Barnet's constitution, you have the right to a supplementary question to the answers which I'll provide you, and so we'll do 1 question at a time. Your first question is around the North London Waste Authority. The North London Waste Authority will formalise the appointment of its 14 members, 2 elected members from each constituent borough. The authority chair and vice chair at its AGM on the 25th of June. North London Waste Authority has statutory responsibilities under the Waste Regulation and Disposal Authorities Order 1985 and is subject to a range of public sector and local authority duties. It's not possible to make a formal assessment of the future discretionary objectives and priorities of the new authority group, as these will be discussed and confirmed following the member appointments. Senior Barnet officers are working closely with their counterparts at the authority and will assess any potential local impacts for Barnet as the new authority membership determines its future work programme. Mr. Samuel, do you have a supplementary question on that? Yeah,
if you want to give an answer really clearly and loudly and slowly, because I can't hear very well in this room. But my supplementary question is, I was just combing through, welcome to the new people, what is the North London Waste Planning Group and why does it only have 1 member?
The North London Waste Planning Group. If officers are... Oh, do we have a... Oh, yes. So I believe we have Craig Miller, who's our Executive Director of Environment, who can answer that question for you. Is he online? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, Chair, I am. Yeah. Hello. Sorry, I'm not aware of that particular group that Mr. Samuels has spoken about. Can you give me a bit more detail on that, Mr. Samuels?
So I was looking up Councillor Menon, and he's on it. So, yeah.
Councillor Menon, do you have any further information about the North London?
Unfortunately, I do not. What I heard is that group has not met in the last 2 years, so I don't know whether that is still an existing body.
I can only assume by virtue of the fact that it has planning in its name, it implies to me that it's there should there be a need to consider future sites, but that's just a speculation. I can't answer that question. But so apologies if you couldn't hear the first answer. A very short summary of the first answer is, after the 25th of June, a better answer could be provided because the makeup of the authority will be meeting on that date. Question 2 was around homelessness if the council doesn't act on the council's housing debt. So I'll try and go a bit closer. Okay, can you hear me okay now? Great. So Barnet Homes operates a supply and demand model which forecasts gaps in the delivery of housing to meet need. We've identified that the delivery of larger units is a priority, and this will be further reflected in the forthcoming Right Homes in the Right Places strategy. As of the end of April 2026, there were 2,474 households placed into a band under the Housing Allocation Scheme awaiting a long-term offer of housing. This excludes households in suitable long-term TA. That's a further 1,295 households. Due to the lack of supply of larger properties, the average wait time for a 4+ bedroom property for someone in Band 2 is 15 years. The council is trying to maximise the delivery of larger family homes in its own development programme, business cases for which will factor in the benefit to the council of delivering these homes instead of needing to procure alternative forms of more expensive temporary accommodation. We will also make the best use of existing stock by actively supporting tenants living in properties too large for them to move to smaller homes, which frees up family-sized properties for families. We have an incentive payment scheme called Fresh Start to encourage people to move, and we have officers whose role it is to support tenants to move into smaller properties. In 2025-26, this activity led to 40 properties being freed up, including 5 4-bedroom properties. In the last 3 years, 176 properties have been freed up because of this work. At the same time, we are trying to ensure that family homes to meet needs are also delivered by registered providers and developers through the planning process without the requirement for council funding. This need for family homes is established in our local plan and will be further set out in the Right Homes in the right homes in the right places strategy, which has been prepared this 26-27. We're continuing to make the case to the government and the GLA in relation to the grant requirements to meet the higher cost of delivering larger properties. Yes, you have a supplementary.
So, turn your mic off when you're not. My supplementary question is, if you're going to make the case to the government, like it says in the reports, you're buying up properties on the open market. I believe that is because if you do that for temporary accommodation, it saves you having to rely on private landlords, and you get a more controlled and better value offer. But if you were to buy properties to be council homes on the private market, like by the supply, the idea, I guess, is that it would require more funding. So are you making the case to government?
So the answer does mention the representation being made to government. We also have the head of strategic housing and growth team, Susan Curran, online, who may be able to give you more information about representations that are being made to government.
Yes, thank you for the question. We are continuing to liaise with government and the GLA in relation to funding, and we have just put in bids for new funding rounds to support kind of the provision of larger properties. That will be to support the acquisition of properties and the build of properties. We do focus on acquisitions as well as new build because we're conscious that actually it takes a long time to build a home, and acquiring property provides a supply quite quickly. We obviously still will work with the private sector and try and get as many homes as we can through the private sector, and we do that through various different schemes, including incentives and working with Bumblebee, who are part of the Barnet Group.
Thank you, Susan. And your last question was around equal pay claims. So the council is assessing all risks relating to equal pay. It's not considered that there are any specific risks associated with senior salaries. Did you have a supplementary question to that?
I think you screwed up my question because I thought that it was really bad, and I guess my supplementary question is is there a even worse level beyond really bad, like a different colour, or that you can create when things get kicked down the road and get really worse?
I definitely wouldn't refer to this as really bad. Do we have John Bell online? So John is our Assistant Director of HR, and he can provide more information around that question.
Yes, I have to be honest. I'm not entirely sure I understood the question. I can't really give a view around colours of badness. But perhaps if the question could be a little bit more specific, I'll be happy to try and assist.
Would you like to reword your question for the officer?
My question is, if something is the worst it could possibly be on the scale of risks and the ones that you're looking at and prioritizing, then is there a level that is even worse than that in the future it might become?
I think that might be a question I need to defer to my colleagues who handle the council's risk management process. I mean, equal pay obviously is a risk, and it's being managed in accordance with other risks under the council's strategic risk approach.
Okay, thank you for that, John. And that is the end of the public questions and comments. Thank you, Mr. Samuel, for bringing those forward and for attending this evening. If the committee allows me, there's been a last-minute request to move the agenda around slightly. So we are going to skip. Don't worry, we will be coming back to agenda item 6 to 11. We're going to skip first to agenda item 13, which is the external auditors planning report. We have the external auditors here with us this evening, and they are always welcome to stay and listen to the rest of our committee and all the agenda items there. But I would like to skip to agenda item 13. Nick, did you want to introduce this item? Or feel free to defer to
Yeah, I think I'll defer to my colleagues. Just to say that sort of welcome back to the committee, and look forward to working with you again through this audit.
Thank you, Chair. Shall we start with the rebuild and assurance report, or do you want to start with the audit plan? I think they're both on the same item. I think.
I think we should start with the plan.
Okay. AJ will take us through the plan.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you, Chair. So we have a couple of papers for the committee. There's the audit plan for the council and the audit plan for the pension fund. So I will sort of take you through the audit plan for the council, and my colleagues who have joined online will take you through the pension fund plan just after finish, and then Paul can then take you through the rebuilding assurance work that we plan to do. That's okay. So I take the report as read. This plan is for 25-26. As you know, we've given disclaimers for the last couple of years. This is the year of recovery as we try to sort of give you assurance, and as we rebuild the work to give you assurance in the coming years. The plan will be to get work done on in-year transactions and closing balances where we don't have to rely on the opening balances. A couple of things to sort of highlight is the key risks for the year for financial statement is management override of controls, risk over year-end expenditure completeness, asset valuations, the valuations of land and building, investment properties and council dwellings, as well as valuations of net pensions liability. These risks are quite standard across the sector. They're nothing unusual for your council. We haven't identified a significant risk that is specific to this council. This is more or less standard sector-wide significant risks. Also, I touch on the materiality, which means that we bring to you errors we identify over materiality. The materiality for the group is 23.9 million, for the council is 21 million, and triviality is 1.1 million, which means we bring to you any errors we identify over a million for the group and 1.1 million for the council. A couple of things on the ongoing issues where we have to do follow-up work. These are the issues we've identified in last year's audit, and we will spend significant amount of time to make sure that we do work and bring to you whether these issues persist or have gone away. Those are more or less on timely production of quality accounts, IFRS 16, where we found a number of errors last year, and also some other work on debtors and creditors, where we could not do enough work to give you assurance. The plan also has risks on value for money. The key risks are on financial sustainability, governance, and the 3 E's around funding gaps, subsidiary, finance capabilities, and contract management. Our colleagues on VFM specialist team will do the work between now and the next few weeks, and we will bring to you our outcomes in the coming audit, coming GARMS committee. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was the timeline. So our work starts next week. The audit team is all ready to start audit next week, where we select our samples. Then our plan is to give some time to the finance team to sort of collate all the evidence. We come back again in July and do 12 weeks of external audit, and our aim is to finish by November. This is effectively a dry run for us to make sure that we're able to give you a report by November, because that will be the deadline for next year. That was kind of a quick brief on the audit plan. Happy to take any questions before I hand over to my pension fund colleagues.
Thank you, AJ. Just indicate if you have any questions. Councillor Menon. Anyone else? Lovely. Councillor Menon.
My question is for the council leadership around one of the risks mentioned was that the accounts were delayed last year, which led to delay in auditing. So for this year, are we on track to get the draft accounts published on time?
Thanks for the question. I feel we are in a better position this year. The issue that delayed us last year, which some of it was down to implementing a new system and some difficulties we had with that. So we have overcome that this year. So we're sort of in line to provide some information next week. We're still working to the end of June in terms of publishing the full accounts, but most of the information is on our system now, so we're in the process of sort of preparing our working papers. There is one sort of risk that we've mentioned earlier, which is around our group. So our subsidiary Barnet Homes, the Barnet Group, also implemented a new system this year, which has sort of delayed them from producing their accounts, which we then consolidate into our accounts. So that's kind of the major risk this year, but we are in a much better position than we were at this point last year in terms of timelines.
If I make, Councillor, just to add to Councillor Mennon's question. So last year there were IFRS 16 delay issues, Oracle issues around payroll reports, for example. There were delayed supporting working papers that were provided late to auditors, and of course the delay in drafting the financial statements. So, Nick, are you confident that all of these areas you mentioned that we are in a better position this year? Is that for everything?
Yeah, largely we've focused on a lot of the areas that were that caused us delays last year. Yeah, we spent a lot of time, especially on IFRS 16. It was a new implementation. I think it was going to one of your presentations. It was a sort of London-wide or council-wide issue. A lot of the issues were found in other councils as well, and we've gone to quite a lot of various groups and presentations from GT as well about how to improve. And we've done some training within the team so more people in the team have knowledge of IFRS 16 and can help that progress. We've spent a lot of time on improving our working papers and sort of communicating to the business about the things that we need in our working papers. Yeah, so we spent a lot of time in sort of improving what we can. Obviously, we're not going to be perfect overnight, but we are progressing. We're giving everything we can to progress.
Thank you very much. If you don't get the documents expected by midweek next week from Barnet Group, please do be in touch with myself and we'll see how we can try and escalate that.
I will do, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Rich.
It's a supplementary question. I realise the politicians and accountants have some things in common. You said we're in a better position than we were last year. Well, that doesn't answer the question, and I say this very respectfully. I understand there's maybe a problem with Barnet Homes, but other than